man in his 20s, and he had never drank alcohol, ever. And he was going through this experience with me. I was coaching him at the time, and he was going through this experience where he wanted to try as many drugs as possible, but he wanted to try them to see what benefit they would provide in his life. So he took ayahuasca, he took ecstasy, acid, you name it, he tried it. And then one day he told me he was going to try alcohol because he was curious, okay? And you know what? He hated it. He said that it made him paranoid, felt sick, and he felt like he was out of control. But what fascinated me the most about this young man, it wasn't the alcohol, it was that he approached it with intention. He wanted to see what it would do. He made a conscious decision to drink it and experiment with it to see if it provided him with any value. And when it didn't serve him, he walked away with it. He walked away from it, right? But most people aren't like that.
What if I told you that for some people, ayahuasca is no different than alcohol? Same intention, same part, same escape. You see, I've been watching a lot of content from my mentor, Preston Smiles, recently. And one story post grabbed my attention. It's when he was talking and sharing his thoughts on plant medicine like ayahuasca, psilocybin, and mushrooms. And I found myself nodding along to him, but also wondering, are people just replacing one illusion with another? Because if you're reaching for anything, whether it's a shot of tequila or a cup of jungle brew, hoping that it will fix your life, then I've got news for you. You're not being led by self. And this episode is all about that. Hello, everybody. My name is LeeDavy. I am not an alcoholic. I refuse to be anonymous. I am someone who lives a self-led life, alcohol-free as fuck, and I spend every waking moment helping other people do the same, like right now, brothers and sisters. And yeah, don't worry. Look at the t-shirt. Woof, 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 woof. You're not on magic mushrooms, psilocybin, or ayahuasca. My t-shirt that everyone in my family hates. And every time I put it on, they're like, are you really wearing that? I'm like, yes, I am. Anyway, on to today's show. So, Preston Smiles, top boy. He did a 2-part story post the other day, and he was talking about his worries and concerns about the dangers of plant medicine, ayahuasca, mushrooms, psilocybin. And he's done the work, right? This is a guy who's had hundreds and hundreds of experiences with these things. But he was talking about how he didn't like the way that people were marketing them, right? And he didn't like the fact that people were being told that taking an ayahuasca trick, for example, would be like the panacea of all your problems, right? Like it would solve everything for you, okay? And I myself, I haven't done those things yet. I've thought about them a lot. I have taken mushrooms once. No out-of-body visions, no shamanic downloads, unfortunately, because that's why I took them. Just felt a bit floaty, that's all, right? But what I do have experience is I've worked with thousands of people over the last 15 years. People trying to change their relationship with alcohol. And I've seen the pattern play out again and again and again, right? And that is that people drink alcohol for relief, for connection, for some sort of transformation, okay? They do it because it takes them into another bodily state, right? And this is the same way that people approach psychedelics. So let's not fool ourselves. It's not the substance that matters. It's the state you're in when you reach for it. Are you choosing to take ayahuasca, for example, from a place of self? Or are you choosing to take ayahuasca from your parts that are terrified, desperate, and clinging to some form of shortcut? I had a client once. He was a young man in his 20s, and he had never drank alcohol, ever. And he was going through this experience with me. I was coaching him at the time, and he was going through this experience where he wanted to try as many drugs as possible, but he wanted to try them to see what benefit they would provide in his life. So he took ayahuasca. He took ecstasy, acid, you name it, he tried it. And then one day he told me he was going to try alcohol because he was curious, okay? And you know what? He hated it. He said that it made him paranoid, felt sick, and he felt like he was out of control. But what fascinated me the most about this young man, it wasn't the alcohol, it was that he approached it with intention. He wanted to see what it would do. He made a conscious decision to drink it and experiment with it to see if it provided him with any value. And when it didn't serve him, he walked away with it. He walked away from it, right? But most people aren't like that. Most people, if I'm being honest, who come to me, out of all those thousands I talked about over the last 15 years, none of them want to stop drinking, really. They come to me because they want to control it. They want to keep their firefighter heart parts happy. They want the illusion of safety without giving up the drink. And they want to stay in the smoke while pretending they're not in the fire. So the big question is this today. Are you using plant medicine or alcohol as a tool to awaken some spiritual side of your psyche, your humanity, or is it a way of avoiding doing the real work? So we're going to take a little break. And while we do, chew on that one. And also ask yourself, are you choosing these substances, ayahuasca and alcohol, from self, or are you choosing them from fear, pressure, loneliness, and victimhood? Welcome back to the 1000 Day Sober podcast, where today we've been talking about plant medicine like ayahuasca, we've been talking about alcohol, and whether either of them can truly be taken through conscious choice. And before the break, I asked you to reflect. Are you choosing consciously to take any substances, right? Or are your parts running the show when it comes to the decision to use? And this question applies to ayahuasca, alcohol, even yoga retreats, breathwork festivals, you name it. You've got to ask yourself, where am I choosing this from? Above the line in self-energy or below the line in parts? Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Most people who drink moderately, and you see them in the world, right? You look at them and you're like, okay, I wish I could be like that person. I don't believe they're doing it consciously, personally. Even people who drink once or twice a year. I once had a client from Australia who literally only drank a couple of times a year. When she first came to me, I was shocked. I was like, hang on a minute, this person doesn't have a problem with alcohol. They're only drinking a couple of times a year. But she knew. She knew. This was before I even was trained in internal family systems therapy. I didn't even know about it. And here is a person who came to me and said, I'm only drinking once or twice a year, but I don't like the way that I'm out of control when I'm choosing to drink it. And she didn't even know. I didn't know. We didn't have the language to describe it then, that her parts were choosing to drink. And herself knew that this was not the way she wanted to live her life. Another example close to home is my wife. She drinks a couple of times a year, maybe a glass of wine when we're on holiday or something, right? Does it destroy her life? Does it bother her? Does it affect her? Does it bother me and I live with her and you know how much I despise the stuff? No, not really. It doesn't spiral into chaos. Doesn't come anywhere near chaos, right? But do I believe that decision is coming from self? Nope. She does. I don't. I think it's a part. It's a habit. It's just that quiet whisper of, I need something to relax. I've had a hard day. I need something to chill me out, to take me away from the stress and anxiety, right? And here's the deeper truth. Just because you can moderate, and a lot of people can, it doesn't mean you're doing it consciously. And when it comes to things like ayahuasca, I believe the same test applies. And when Preston Smiles was saying to people, beware, this isn't the glory thing you think it is. This isn't the answer to all your prayers, because ayahuasca is outside of you and the work is inside of you, right? When he was saying this, I was thinking, I wonder how many people, even in the spiritual and the self-help community, all these thought leaders and life coaches that I interact with, how many of them are choosing to do ayahuasca from parts, right? Are they choosing it because self is curious, or are they hoping in some way to be rescued? Because here's the danger. If you need ayahuasca to feel whole, perfect, and complete, you are giving your power away. And if you're taking it over and over and over again, searching for the moment like a junkie chasing the next high, then you haven't really escaped the liquid lie. You've just changed its form. And the same goes for alcohol. And that's why no matter how conscious I become, I will never ever drink alcohol again. Why? Because no matter how present I feel, no matter how high my vibe or how open my heart, myself will always know the truth that I would never willingly ingest a poison that offers zero value. There is no world in which that makes sense to me. Ayahuasca, that's different. Because if the time is right, and if I'm choosing to experience that from self, then maybe. Because it's not about the substance, it's about the state of being when you're making that decision. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Today's daily vow. Today, I will not drink. I will not stop looking for shortcuts to escape the parts of me that need my love. I will ask, am I choosing this from self, or am I hoping to be saved? Some questions for you to think about as you go about your world today. When was the last time you made a decision that looked healthy, but was actually driven by fear? Are you using substances like plant medicine, alcohol, cigarettes, anything else to avoid what you don't want to feel? And how do you know when a decision is really coming from self? Have a think about those. If this episode helped you pause and think a little deeper, please, please, please rate and review the podcast. I'd love you to help me to get more listeners to this. Subscribing also really helps me. Can you do that today, please? I hope you can. Strive Foundations is out. Boom, boom, boom. If you want to experience 20 workshops from the Strive method for a measly £47, what's that? A night out on the pot? What is that, like 10 pints or something? Like an ordinary Saturday for someone like me when I used to drink? Get over to www.thestrivemethod.com and you'll find a way to find Strive Foundations, okay? And get stuck into that. Right, are you ready to take the sovereign vow with me? One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Big deep breath. Okay, repeat after me. I am a striver who is alcohol free as fuck. And I will not drink today, because that is not what I do, and that is not who I am. Much love, everybody, and strive on.